Hi, I'm Jaworski and welcome to Every Woman Project, empowering lives through story. For today, I have a really special guest and her name is Tanya Karaoglanis, and she is a wife, a mother of 5 children, and she's incredibly inspiring. I know her story is going to reach so many of you and really touch your hearts. So without further ado, Tanya, hi, welcome to the show.
Hey Megan, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. I'm so glad that you can come and share your story, because I know many women will be able to relate to what you're going to share with us today. So Tanya, for those that don't know you sitting at home, what to date has been probably the most challenging experience of your life?
Probably going through a stage in life where in 1 year I gave birth to a stillborn baby. That's at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year I gave birth to a premature baby, and the growth and all the emotion involved with that, either could make you or break you. And part of it is you have this family unit. There was Peter and I, and there was Jessica and Michael and Samuel, and with the little one inside me as well. You have to take care of everybody. It's not just you, it's everybody, plus it's the wider community and the wider extended family as well, and trying to manage all their emotions as much as possible and take their emotions into account, and trying to be strong for everybody when you're actually dying inside.
So how far along in your pregnancy were you when you gave birth to your stillborn little boy?
I was 21 weeks. Nothing prepares you for the words that no fetal heart rate. Nothing can prepare you for that. And I had Peter with me at the radiologist, and I also had Samuel.
Oh wow, how old was he?
Samuel was 2. You don't expect walking into a normal consultation to have those words spoken to you.
I don't think anyone goes in to have an ultrasound thinking that they'll hear those words.
And that's right. And I got on the phone to my doctor, and I was going, what's next? And I said, can you get me in this afternoon? Can we do this afternoon? And they said no.
So you had to stay with your child, and by 21 weeks you're showing. So you would be showing, you would be, some women even feel their child. You said that you were feeling him move. So you had to then go to bed that night knowing that your child isn't alive inside of you. Wow, I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like. So can you share with us, I guess, the months after? How did your husband and yourself keep the family together, and you personally?
Okay. Thinking back, it's 14 years ago, but it's still really there. There's a saying that's probably. And there's a verse in the Bible as well that helped me get through this as well. And it's found in 2 Chronicles, and it says, the battle is not yours, it's mine.
Powerful. And
so that night when I couldn't sleep, I sat down and I just prayed, and I says, God, I need something. And I opened my Bible, and that's what I came to. Okay. And so that got me through those few days. So going through the grieving process, sometimes it's one of us was really, really strong, while one of us is really, really struggling. And so it juggled between Peter and I.
Yeah.
One day Peter was really strong and I was a mess. And we still had 3 children that we had to bring up. And so our focus was on those 3 children and managing those 3 children. And I have come to realize that in all of this, self-talk and meditation helps me through a lot.
Then you got pregnant with your 5th child.
Yes.
Can you share with us just that moment throughout your pregnancy that, I guess, shook your world? Do you mind starting?
Yeah. Okay. When we found out we were pregnant with Luke, scared is probably not the description that I was absolutely petrified.
Right.
I was absolutely petrified
of losing another
child. It was a Wednesday morning, and I was woke up in bed, and I thought, oh, bother and dash, I've wet the bed.
Right. Yeah.
And so I got up and went to the bathroom.
Which is a normal thought to have when you're pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much.
How far along were you at this
I was
stage?
16 weeks.
Okay, and this was your 5th child, so the pelvic floor is probably not as strong.
No, that's exactly right. And so I went to the bathroom, as you do.
Yeah.
And I got myself ready to go to the toilet, and I just let out this blood-curdling scream.
Oh, no.
Because every piece of clothing that was on my body was absolutely soaked in blood. And I just sat down on the toilet floor and just screamed and screamed and screamed.
Yeah. And who was home at this time?
This was 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so everyone.
So everybody was home. Everybody came running to the toilet. And this is at the back of the house.
Yeah.
And so it's like this tiny little room, and everybody was just standing there. And Peter opened the door, and he's going, everybody just crumbled. Because everybody knew.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Yeah.
So
and then you probably thought, not again.
That was those were part of the words that I said. Yeah, quite possibly. I said, Pete, you got to ring the hospital.
Yeah.
This is where community is so important. She's a school mum. She was with me through the journey with James and losing James, and now here. And I got to the door of the hospital. She met me at the door, and I just crumbled in her arms, and I said, Jackie, I can't do this again.
Yeah.
I cannot go through this again.
No.
She says,
how many months later was this? After you lost James?
We lost James in the February.
Yeah.
This was October.
Wow. So just, 9 months?
Or maybe 8.
8 months later.
8 months later.
So the grief
don't
is
forget,
still...
I was 16 weeks.
Yes, so you're 16 weeks pregnant. So the grief is still so fresh.
It is.
Wow.
And I was just going, I can't go through this again. And she says, by the way, Tanya, I've rang one of the school mums, and she's coming to pick up the children for you, and she will look after your children until you're settled and you're able to go home.
Yeah.
The benefit of community.
Absolutely. I don't think we can emphasize that enough.
And then I found out that I had a blood clot the size of an orange.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so Luke had moved in such a way that it burst the blood clot.
Right. So what did that mean for Luke?
Okay. So for Luke right then and there, to keep him safe, the bleeding had to stop. So I was on complete bed rest.
Yeah.
And this is another phrase you don't particularly want to hear, is your pregnancy is not viable at the moment, there's nothing we can do. At 16 weeks, it's not a viable pregnancy. At 24 weeks, it's a viable pregnancy.
Okay, so it means that if you gave birth to Luke between now and 24 weeks, then that would be it.
So I was in Monash from 18 weeks till I gave birth. Until I gave birth at 23 and 7 days.
Wow. So you just hit that 24-week mark. So then did you end up having Luke via emergency cesarean, or was he a natural birth? How did that go?
He was emergency Caesar.
Yeah. So when Luke was born, how was he? 24 weeks. He would have been tiny.
He was 700 grams.
Wow.
So he was actually quite big for a 24-weeker.
Yeah.
And that his size is probably what saved him.
Yeah.
Okay. During that 8-hour period from when I was taken in, and he was born at 10:30 that Sunday morning, and it took me till 4 o'clock in the afternoon to actually come out of my anaesthetic.
Wow, so you couldn't see him, or?
No, and I had no idea.
How big did you say he was?
He was 750 grams.
750 grams. So he would have been smaller than your hand.
He was 30 centimetres.
30 centimetres.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so his mouth would have been straight into an incubator?
Yeah. So it's
Were you allowed to touch him?
No, I actually didn't get to hold Luke until New Year's Day.
So you didn't get to hold him for nearly a month?
When you've got to realise...
I understand because of his medical condition, but from a mother's perspective, I know I got to hold my baby, my firstborn, straight away, but then he was taken from me and I was separated from him for a night because he was in a humidity crib. And that was the worst, probably, I think it was 8 hours I was separated from him, the worst 8 hours of my life. I can't imagine nearly a month of not being able to cuddle your own child, especially after what you've gone through. So how is that process for you?
It's quite because we're such a for want of a better terminology, a lovey-dovey family. Like, we always give cuddles and kisses and that. It's a struggle. There are so many times when I got a phone call, come down, you can hold him today, and I get there and his temperature has dropped and you're not allowed to.
Oh, that would have been heartbreaking, because all you want, like the motherly instinct, is to just touch.
Yes.
Because the baby needs it, you need it as part of that bonding.
Yeah.
You said that you had to be there for your children.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the time leading after that, when you could actually connect to your child?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that because you couldn't touch him, did you find that there was a connection that you didn't have the same connection to as what you did with your other children? Mm-hmm. Or how did you find the bond?
It's a scary thought. There is always fear built into it, and you've really got to listen to the doctors, because they know know best. But inside here, it's heartbreaking, because you cannot form that bond unless that baby is here.
Yeah.
So I would hang out for the kangaroo hold. That's what it's called. Like, they put it inside everywhere and they wrap you all up, and it is such an emotional time, and it was so good. But you have this little body that comes out of the incubator that has all of these wires hanging off it, and you are so scared that you're going to knock a wire off and it's going to send buzzing all through the NICU, and then all the doctors and nurses are going to come running and then take your baby off you anyway, before you can actually bond with your child.
So how long... So you then got to take him home when he was how many weeks?
We took him home the day he was actually due.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's just a moment. I remember the phone.
So that's 3 months later, roughly.
He was in hospital for 17 and a bit weeks.
17 and a bit weeks. You would go to hospital to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been the most incredible day that you
know,
finally got the all clear. You could take your baby home.
I know, it was so good. And so I was out shopping with my grandma. We were in Coles, and I got the phone call. You can come and take Luke home today. And I said to the nurse, I says, if you were standing right beside me, I'd give you the biggest hug at the moment. I says, that is such a good news. And remember, I was standing in Coles at I think it was in the freezer section, and I was going, and I let out this biggest scream, and my grandmother was standing there, and she's going, what's going on? I said, get in the car, we're going to the hospital, we're going to bring Luke home.
Yes.
And
I can't imagine the joy.
It was so good.
It
was so good. And so we got this little outfit that my grandmother and I had picked to go to bring him home.
And how big was he now at this stage?
He was normal birth weight.
Okay, so about 3.5 kilos roughly?
Yeah, about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was finally fitting into newborn clothes.
He was, absolutely. And the thing is, and what we're so thankful for is really he came home without oxygen.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Not a lot of babies go home without oxygen.
Yeah. Let's just skip right ahead. How is Luke now?
Okay, Luke is 14.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with ADHD and autism when he was 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is the ADHD. I can't explain that, but the autism I can. When he was inside me, but also subsequent while he was in hospital, he had 7 bleeds on the brain.
Wow.
Okay, and so within that, his neuro pathways aren't connecting properly.
Yes.
Okay, so and we also need to remember is a lot of brain development happens after 24 weeks.
Yes, of course, definitely.
So he missed out on all of that.
Yeah.
So the normal growth of a baby, he didn't have a chance to have all that inside me. Yeah. So it is all medically.
Is he quite high functioning?
He is high functioning.
Okay.
It's he's a delightful kid.
Yeah.
He just has his moments.
Of course.
And
his moments are just different to other children's moments.
Very much so. Yeah. But what we're focusing on at the moment and what we're needing at the moment is understanding.
Yeah.
Okay, because we are in a community. Okay, it's probably getting better now than what it was 10 years ago.
There's more education around autism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we need to educate the community in how they react around people
who are different.
Different is the right way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, who don't fit into this square box.
Yeah. And there's a lot of kids that don't fit into that square box.
Yeah.
And
we're like a jigsaw puzzle.
Spectrums of autism and other intellectual difficulties, that kind of learning issues, that kind of thing. So I mean, definitely. So now you're a mum of 5 children. One has autism. You've gone through a lot in your life. If there's just one piece of advice that you'll give to people, what would that be, knowing what you know now?
Self-care.
That's
all I can.
Yeah. What's one way that you take care of yourself?
Meditation.
Great.
Okay.
We forget that if we're not fulfilling our cup, then we can't
fill other people's cup. And it comes, and this is why.
And meditation is your key, is it?
Very much so. Yeah. And so be the change you want to be.
Yeah.
And if you can't be the change you want to be if you don't give yourself self-care.
Yes.
And self-talk.
Yes.
And meditation.
Yeah, because meditation just helps clear that mind, as
it is, because part of the process that I found myself in over probably the last 22 years, because our oldest is 22, is there was postnatal depression in there. And so when you are in that space, self-talk and talking yourself out of destructive situations
is key. Yeah.
Because then if you don't, it'll lead to destructive behaviour. It leads to destructive behaviours. And mine led to destructive behaviours.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
We'll have to get
that is another story.
Chapter 2.
Because to get yourself out of that, self-talk, self-care, meditation, and be the change that you want to be, because only you can do it.
Only you can do it. That's right. We can't rely on anyone else for our happiness, our healing. Our journey is our own. Tanya, there is so much that we could go into today, but we have run out of time. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so vulnerable, for being so strong, because we know that there is strength in vulnerability, for sharing your journey with us. And whether or not someone has gone through what you've gone through, there is bits that you've shared that we can all take away from, little gold nuggets. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And if you would like, if this story has touched you in some way, then please, we would love to hear from you. Please comment below this video. You can write a comment, or feel free to tag someone who you think needs to hear this message. Or if you've got a question that you'd like to ask myself or even Tanya, then please feel free to write that too below, and we'll get back to you on that. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching Every Woman Project, because your story is truly worth loving. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the next episode of Every Woman Project. Have a safe time and a fun time. Bye.
See ya.